And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the DoDcast Postgame Show. I'm District on Deck co-editor Ricky Keeler as the Washington Nationals lose tonight to the Miami Marlins 7-3. Looked promising from the beginning. A.J. Cole had 3 good innings, and then everything went wrong. And for the second time in a week, the Nationals offense can't score against Vance Worley. So a rough night for the Nats. They now are only 13 games ahead of the Marlins, but there's still about 50 games to go, so I wouldn't worry too much, Nats fans. What if we talk about Cole? We'll talk about why you should be concerned about Ryan Zimmerman. I think there's a lot to be worried about with him right now. Talk about the good night Adrian Sanchez had. Brian Goodwin, another good game at the top of the lineup. And the bullpen, I thought, did a job. Albers was good, but Marlins got behind in a lot of counts and battled back, and that was really the story of this game. Before we get in the totals, and again, we want you to chime in the chat room here on the YouTube page or tweet me on Twitter at District on Deck or at Rickinator555. Want to wish a happy wedding anniversary to my partner in crime, Ron Juckett, and his wife, Sarah, on their 19th wedding anniversary today. That's why Ron's not here. So congratulations, Ron, if you're listening, and hope you're not listening. Enjoy your anniversary, please. Let's look at the line scores for both these teams here. Marlins get 7 runs on 6 hits with 1 error. The Nationals, 3 runs, 11 hits, and an error. The error coming from Adrian Sanchez, which could have been a hit by D. Gordon, but it would have been tough. I could see why they ruled an error. And Miguel Rojas got an error for the Marlins. Another win for Vance Worley, who has both his wins against the Nats this year. 6 innings, 1 run, 6 hits, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, but he gets the W. And A.J. Cole takes another loss against the Marlins. 5 innings, 4 runs, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Well, I think, again, the story of this game early on, and I'll get to your chat questions and comments in a second, the Nationals couldn't get a big hit in this game. They had chance after chance after chance early on, and sometimes they just ran to bad luck. I mean, 2 times A.J. Cole came up with runners in scoring position. It's unlikely A.J. Cole's going to get a base hit there. But the first thing kind of set the tempo. The Nats got 2 men on base, and Zimmerman has to strike him out, throw him out, double play, and you had Worley on the ropes on 22 pitches, and you couldn't get it done. And sometimes you just have nights like that where you hit the ball hard. You saw it against Brad Ziegler in the 9th just a few seconds ago. They hit the ball hard. They just hit it right at people. And that's going to happen. I understand fans are upset also. Daniel Murphy got the night off. Did pinch hit in the 9th inning. Murphy 12 for 22 against Vance Worley is one of our people on Twitter pointed out, and he sat both games against Worley. It's strange, but again, the Nats have such a breathing room that they're going to sit guys. They're going to get guys rest. They want to prevent these injuries, and they've had so many of them that sometimes you just got to take a night off. And I know Murphy's had a lot of them lately. I don't think he's hurt. He was shaking his hand the night, so that's something maybe to monitor, but I don't think he's hurt by any means. Seth says, let's go. Yeah, Seth, I've lost. I hope you're doing good, Seth. Yeah, it's my first loss in a while. So I'm not used to doing a lot of losing DoDcasts, but bear with me. We'll get all through it together. Started off again. A.J. Cole's good. First 3 innings didn't allow a hit. And the Nats got the lead in the 3rd inning on, I thought, some good small ball. Brian Goodwin gets a double. Nice bunt by Adrian Sanchez, moves the runner to 3rd, and then Bryce Harper ground out to 2nd. And yes, there are so many people that are criticizing Dusty Baker for the lineup. I get that. But here's a reason why Dusty might be putting the lineup out the way he is. You have no speed right now at the top of the order. Nobody's stealing bases. Wilmer Difo has a stolen base tonight, but really besides that, they're not really trying to steal bases because Trey Turner's not there. So if you're not going to do that, you need a guy like Difo or Adrian Sanchez to lay a bunt down. Sometimes you have to have nights where if you're not hitting the kabooms out of the ballpark, you got to manufacture runs other ways. That's how this team's going to win in October. You're not going to hit home runs in October against great pitching more often than not. You're going to have to win with small ball. And the Nationals have to figure out a way to do that more consistently. They did that to get their first run, but that's another reason why we should put that in there. So that small ball, I think, is absolutely a key to getting the win here. So then Cole gets through the first couple innings, struggles a little bit in the 4th. He gets the first 2 outs, and then Derek Dietrich, a 2-strike pitch, hits a home run. It was like a hanging slider down in the zone, ties the game. I think the big at bat, and I said when I was live tweeting, you got to circle it on your scorecard. is Tomas Talise, 11-pitch walk. And when you have those kind of games, remember the NLDS last year where Max Scherzer walks Justin Turner on like 13 pitches, and the Dodgers don't score there, but it has an impact later on. With Cole having almost 80 pitches after 4 innings, you just got the sense if he got out of the 5th, you'd be happy. And he didn't. We finished the 5th inning, but it wasn't what you were hoping for. And that Talise at bat kind of changed things, even though the Marlins did not score another run in that 4th inning. We get to the 5th. You got the Rojas base hit. Worley gets down the bunt. Gordon gets a base hit. Mike Maxim's in the mound. First and third, 1 out. And we all know what's about to happen. I had people who tweeted me that said it was no surprise it happened. First pitch, Giancarlo Stanton absolutely crushes it to left center field. A 3-run shot. Marlins take the lead. Stanton, by the way, has had 17 home runs in his last 25 games. So on a non-Nats note, it's great to see him healthy again for the full season. Because you always wonder, with the injury history this guy's had, he's a superstar. He's a full-on superstar. He's on a bad team. And he's finally putting up the insane numbers that everybody's been hoping for. So it is really fun to watch Giancarlo Stanton hit the ball. It really is. So the Marlins get the 3 runs, ends up being 4-1. Nats threatening again in the 5th, but a double play by Zimmerman ended that threat. Then we go to the 7th and a rough inning for the Nats bullpen. Sammy Solis, who had a good 6th inning, 10-pitch, 1-2-3, walks Miguel Rojas. Then D. Gordon, 2 batters later, gets the ground rule double, but since the fan touched the ball, Miguel Rojas scores. And then Oliver Perez comes in with 2 outs, hits JT Realmuto. Dietrich gets a 2-run single. Then it's 7-1. The Nats do tack on 2 more runs in the 7th inning. Adrian Sanchez a base hit, Bryce Harper a sac fly. And then Zimmerman flies out to left. Nice sliding catch by Ichiro. But Sanchez forgets how many outs there were. And I guess I get it. You're a rookie. You're going to sometimes have mental lapses, but you can't really afford that in that situation. And that just adds to a rough night and really a rough second half for Ryan Zimmerman. Outside of breaking the Nationals home run record, there hasn't been an eventful month, a couple of weeks for him to say the least. So the Nats fall in this one 7-3. And yes, that was hard luck for Cole there. I thought his slider looked good, especially first few innings of this game. It looked like a different A.J. Cole. Was throwing the ball 95. Had good movement on all his pitches. And sometimes you just have that 1 or 2 at-bats that throws you off. And that was the case last week in the 5th inning where he struggled and the Marlins broke it open. And you saw it again. It's really, you know what you're getting with A.J. Cole. The Nats sent down Eric Fetty today, and I understand that because Fetty and Cole aren't exactly on turn. But that's where Steven Strasburg needs to come back. And who knows when he will come back, but obviously when he comes back, Cole's going back down. I would have made the case for Fetty to stay, but I understand why the Nats made the decision to send him down, keep him going at Syracuse for another month, and then when the Syracuse season is over, call him back up. That would be the plan. But I think Fetty's a better option than Cole, but for right now, that's what the Nats are at least not stuck with, but they really don't have any depth starting rotation-wise. I mean, they have Jacob Turner at Syracuse, but really besides that, there's not much there. So you kind of know with Cole, you have to score runs when he pitches. It's just the way it is. Remember when Joe Ross had to score like 15 runs to find a way to win games sometimes? That's going to be the case with Cole. You're going to have to score runs to win. If you don't do that, you're more often than not, you're going to come away with a loss. There were some positives tonight. Adam Lynn with 2 more hits gets to start in left field. Dusty Baker said before the game that Howie Kendrick was sore and hopes to play tomorrow. So Lynn got the start, did a nice job. 2 leadoff singles. He's been great this year. And I got an article coming up tomorrow on District on Deck that talks about how Adam Lynn is on the verge of making some pinch hit history with the Nats. You look at their past numbers with pinch hitters, Adam Lynn could be the best pinch hitter this team's ever had. And he's been one of the best pinch hitters in baseball this year. I won't spoil the numbers because they're going to be in my article tomorrow. So you definitely want to check that out. But I love what the top of the order did today. Bryce Harper did go over 2, but he drew 2 walks at the sac fly and the ground out and scored both runs. But Brian Goodwin, 3 for 5. He added 2 more doubles. He's now up to 20 doubles this year. And I don't think anybody ever predicted that at the beginning of the season. And Adrian Sanchez, 3 for 4. And I talked about it on Sunday when we were on with Drew. The at-bat against John Lester in the 7th inning to get that base hit and get Lester out of the game was huge. Every time Sanchez plays, he may not have the best stat line, but he battles every at-bat. He was making some good plays at second base. Deef obviously made some more good plays at shortstop. But this is a guy that has come up from Syracuse. He's not going to put up the great stat lines, as I mentioned, but he's going to make these small contributions that can lead to a win. And that's what a lot of these role players have done. They're not going to put up insane numbers, but they're going to do just enough to win. And that's why you like what Goodwin, Defoe, Sanchez, Lynn when he plays, the addition of Kendrick. All these bench players are setting themselves up for a chance to make a postseason roster because of how good they're playing. And that's going to make Dusty Baker's decisions in about 6 weeks extremely tough. By the way, scary moment. Dusty Baker didn't come out to make a pitching change. It was Mike Maddox. Baker's leg has been bothering him. It was tough. He had to be helped up the stairs by Mike Maddox to get the umpire to come over to talk about the fan interference. And you just hope Dusty's okay. I mean, that was really tough to watch. And I would love to see Baker get back and be ready. And obviously, you hope that leg gets better soon because, I mean, this team's been hit with so many injuries. You don't want the manager to get hurt, too. He was not joking, but saying, like, oh, that was my good knee to the media. Chelsea James tweeted that earlier today. And that was tough to see. And when you have to get helped up the stairs, it's never a good thing. So I hope Dusty's okay. Anthony Rendon 0 for 4 tonight, not a rough night. But let me get into Ryan Zimmerman in a little bit. I hate to pile on Ryan Zimmerman. I'm not trying to. He's 2 for 23 since the All-Star break. He's 2 for not since the All-Star break. Last 7 games, or 8 games for that matter. 2 for 23. Since the break coming into tonight, he's hitting 205. 5 home runs. I understand there's a lot of moving parts to his swing. And he's going to go through slumps. I get that. But if this keeps happening, you will see teams intentionally walk Bryce Harper in the playoffs again. Because you look at the key players for the Nats in the playoffs, he's going to be one of them. And he had a good 5-game series against LA last year. But when everybody comes back, you need to see Zimmerman maybe get a break. You need to see Adam Lynn play first base more often in September. If not for nothing, to get Zimmerman some rest. Because you got to keep him healthy. And I'm not saying he's injured. I don't think he's injured by any means. But the average is down to 302. So he's going to fall under 300, I think, eventually. And this team needs him to hit. Otherwise, you're going to have to put Daniel Murphy behind Bryce Harper or Anthony Rendon behind Bryce Harper so that Bryce gets pitches to hit. Otherwise, you're going back to what you saw early last year. So managing Ryan Zimmerman going forward is going to be interesting to watch. Now, he ran into bad luck tonight. 2 of the 3 double plays are not his fault. Adrian Sanchez gets thrown out at third base on a double steal on a 3-2 pitch, and then Sanchez forgets how many outs there were. So 2 of the double plays are not his fault. But the double play in the 5th inning, he's had a lot of those lately. He has over 20 strikeouts as well in the second half. He hasn't been the same player. He was great earlier this year, but as you look at the months, the averages have come down, the on-base has come down. He's had a comeback season. I'm not trying to rip him or anything, but you have to look at the numbers. The numbers aren't good. And you have to hope that when he gets it going, it's at the right time. But it's something to monitor because I think that tonight's a night where you should be concerned. Not that he's injured. I never like to assume injuries, so I'm not going to do that here. But the numbers since the break have not been good. He has not been good over the last week, hitting just over 100. The average has dropped from 320 on July 30th to 302 today. That's 18 points in about a week. So the number's starting to dip a little bit, and we'll see if Zimmerman can bounce back. Sammy Solis, I thought a good night, as I said. He did walk Rojas, lead off the 7th, but he did have a good 10-pitch inning. Joe Blanton came in, did not look good. First outing in a week for him. Alvar Perez hits JT Realmuto, then gives it the 2-run single to Dietrich. Really, the only great bullpen performance tonight was Matt Albers. 2 hitless innings, 3 strikeouts, did walk Christian Yelich, but 18 of 28 pitches for strikes. So you love what Matt Albers gives you there, and he needed a night like that because his outings haven't been great lately. So the Nationals end up getting not great performances from their bullpen, but it's a night again where no Brandon Kinsler, no Ryan Madsen, no Sean Doolittle. Kinsler and Doolittle had thrown back-to-back games anyway, so you probably would have seen only Madsen in a closer situation tonight. So now all 3 reset. You get them all back tomorrow. Maybe Dusty goes with the starter for 6 and then the whole trio plan. I would like to see, though, the trio kind of broken up a little bit. Like, you want to have nights where I can go to Kinsler when Doolow's not available. I can go to Madsen when Kinsler's not available. I can't go with using all three in the same game repeatedly because there are going to be nights where all three aren't available and you're stuck with the rest of the bullpen. The only one who didn't get used tonight besides the big three was Matt Grace. So those are things, those are little things. Again, you're up 13 games. I'm going to nitpick at little things with 55 with about 51 games to go. But they're still 66 and 45. It's still a really good baseball team. Let's look around the division and some of the other scores going on right now. Phillies in Atlanta, weird injury in Atlanta. Johan Camargo left the game in the first, right before the game started. I think he took an injury in the first inning. He's taking the field and then gets hurt. So I think Dansby Swanson got pulled in Gwinnett. So probably if Camargo goes in the DL, you'll see Swanson. But the Phillies broke through with a couple of runs. Cesar Odubel Herrera, 2-run shot in the fifth off Julio Teheran. And right now, Zach Eflin in line for the win. 7 innings, 2 runs, 7 hits, 3 strikeouts. And the Mets get a nice win tonight over the Texas Rangers 5-4. Mets scored 4 runs in the first couple innings. Home runs from Michael Conforto, Yoenis Cespedes, and a 2-run shot by Travis d'Arnaud. Chris Flexen gets his first major league win. 5 2/3, 3 runs, 4 hits, 4 Ks, and 3 walks. AJ Ramos gets the save, former Marlins closer, now Mets closer. So New York gets a win over Texas, whose season's starting to slip away from them pretty quickly. That's a mini 2-game series there. Otherwise, around the division right now, rough around the league, at least nationally. Just by the way, if you haven't, go YouTube Billy Hamilton's catch against San Diego tonight. Looked like Spider-Man. It was probably one of the best catches of the year. Other scores of note in the National League: Colorado led 1-0 in the bottom of the ninth, and the Indians rallied back to win 4-1. So Corey Kluber gets a 9-inning win. So Colorado, though, probably won't slip in the wild card race because Milwaukee's getting pummeled by the Twins, 9-4 in the bottom of the fifth. Cubs, though, are losing 3-0 early to the Giants. So if those scores hold, the Cubs remain a game and a half ahead of Milwaukee. And the Dodgers going for win number 80 tonight against the Diamondbacks. Insane they might be 80-32 after the night. No score in the third inning right now in that ball game. Other news of note, other news items. Of course, the big news story today, or at least the injury story, was revolving around Enny Romero, who did speak to the media today. We'll get the tweet here from Chelsea Jeans on what happened. Actually, Chelsea doesn't have, but Chelsea did have a tweet up on Dusty Baker, who said, Dusty said his knee locked up on him, but he's going to be okay. He's going to get checked out. And also an update on Daniel Murphy. He didn't start today because his hip's been bothering him. So that's an injury to monitor, folks. Because if remember last year, Murphy had what he likes to call the hamstring injury. He doesn't like to have it called the other injury. But he was out for a good portion. It was surprising how he was great in October with the limited reps he had in September. So that hip injury will be something to monitor. He did hit tonight, which is good. So it can't be too serious if he's pinch hitting. But remember, Kendrick is sore too. So the Nats don't really have any healthy bench options to turn to, although Andrew Stevenson got a hit tonight, the second of his major league career. So they need everybody healthier than get. And with Murphy being injured too, definitely not a good sign, to say the least. The tweet from, I'm going to go with Jorge Castillo on this one. Enny Romero did play catch, said he played catch at 90 feet today. The forearm is better. Saw a doctor yesterday and had something injected in the forearm. And he just had tightness, no structural damage. So all good things. You probably won't see Enny Romero for a while. Jason Worth is with the team after being in West Palm. Trey Turner still with the team, of course. So those guys still long and coming back. And Michael Taylor out in Harrisburg for at least another week before he comes back. But we have some news on Michael Taylor tonight out in Harrisburg we'll get to in a little bit as well. That's not a good, I don't know, Seth. That's a tough one to ask if you're going to sweep the Marlins. I mean, if you made a bet, you got to pay up the bet. But it's not a good, you never want to. That's a tough one because even 4-game series are tough to sweep. And the Marlins have talent. I mean, Gordon, Stanton, Yelich, Real Muto, Ozuna, they have talent. it's their pitching that really has been the reason why they've been bad, and they just don't have an ace or any elite top pitching prospects right now. So that's why they had to get rid of AJ Ramos and get rid of David Phelps. So their bullpen isn't what it was, but the team had a lot of potential. And I always wonder with Miami, when they get that ownership situation settled, I wonder how much that team is going to look differently when that does happen. You hope for the fans' sake down there that they'll get better real soon. So here's what we got going on, at least in the minor leagues tonight. A lot of exciting minor league news in tonight's ball game. You had Syracuse taking on Toledo, a little AAA action, extra innings, but the Mud Hens beat the Chiefs 3-2. Jaron Long, a nice quality start. 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, 4 strikeouts. Sean Kelly got 2 outs in a relief outing, but Toledo won it, as I said, in the bottom of the 10th. RBIs for Michael Almanzar, who went 2 for 4, and Clint Robinson, his 70th RBI this season. He had a 2-hit game, and 3 hits for Pedro Severino tonight in the number 7 spot. Harrisburg is in progress right now against Bowie. That game in the bottom of the 8th. Senators, actually, that game is final. Senators won 14-4. And Michael Taylor had 6 at-bats tonight. He went 1 for 6 with a 1 hit, a 3-run homer in the top of the 5th. So he gets a hit. 8 of the 9 Senators got a hit, including 3 hit games from Yadiel Hernandez, who had 3 RBIs, and Osvaldo Abreu, 3 for 5. He drove in 4. Dan Gamach and Abreu with the home run of the grand slam in the 9th inning. Austin Voth gets the win. 7 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Gave a pair of solo home runs. But Austin Voth lately, when you look at his performances down in Harrisburg, has done a nice job. Just 5 runs allowed over his last 16 innings coming into tonight. So you hopefully for his season that he can find a way to get back on track. But he does get his 3rd win in the Senators' rotation. Potomac with a win tonight over Myrtle Beach. They rack up 14 hits and a 7-2 win. Ian Sagdahl, 4 for 4 and a couple of doubles. We talked to him earlier this year. Daniel Johnson, 2 for 5 with a double and a couple RBIs. Rhett Wiseman, a home run, 3 runs batted in. So good nights all around. Taylor Gulabo gets the win. 7 innings, 1 earned run on 4 hits, and he struck out 8 in the victory. Hagerstown played a doubleheader against Delmarva and had a good doubleheader to say the least. In game 1, they were down 8-1 going into the 3rd inning, and they rallied all the way back to win 9-8. Paul Panaccione went 2 for 3 with a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs. So he's one of your players of the night for sure. Aldrin Corridor went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Jake Knoll is over 60 ribbies on the season. And how about Kyle Simmons in relief? 3 innings, 4 hits, 2 strikeouts. He's now 5-0 on the year with an ERA over 5. Sam Held gets the save, 2 innings with 1 hit and 1 strikeout. Then in game 2 of the doubleheader, that game's still in progress. Hagerstown does lead 8-5. That game in the bottom of the 6th. RBIs, Paul Panaccione again, 2 ribbies today. He's up to 7 now in the doubleheader. Knoll with an RBI. Nick Banks has 2. Adderling Ruiz is 3 for 3. The catcher has 2 RBIs. So the Suns on their way to maybe sweeping the doubleheader from the Shorebirds. And the other big story of tonight in the minors was down at Auburn. They are taking on Connecticut New York Penn League action. By the way, congratulations to their 3 New York Penn League All-Stars, Jake Scudder, Brandon Baguetto, and Max Engelbrecht, who's their relief pitcher. They will be in the New York Penn League All-Star game next week out in Troy, New York, I believe. So that should be interesting to watch. Carter Keebum, of course, on rehab assignment there with 1 for 4 with an RBI. Baguetto with 2 more hits. He's been red hot in August. But he had the 2 more RBIs I mentioned. Matt Skoll, solo shot, his first of the season with the double days. But the big story, Seth Romero, the Nats' first-round pick, made his Penn League debut after got it rained out last night and was really good. 3 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, did not allow a hit. Slider was filthy. I was listening to some of this game while I was covering the Nats game on Twitter. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, nasty slider. It's only 1 start, and there's going to be a lot of development in Seth Romero's career still to go. But you can tell why they took him in the first round. He's got that kind of talent. The question will only be if some of the off-field issues he had in college, the work ethic and the maturity improve, and you might see Seth Romero pay off as a good gamble by the Nats. Again, only 1 outing, but definitely a good sign to see from him tonight. Gulf Coast League action, the GCL Nats have been really good this year. They go to 23-12. with a 6-3 win over the Cardinals. 3 runs in the top of the ninth, the difference there. Couple RBIs for Jose Cabello, the catcher, and Juan Pascal, the third baseman. 3 hits for Juan Evangelista, the right fielder. And the win goes to Nectar Ramirez, who gave up 4 hits in an inning and third, and Connor Zwetch gets the save, and none of them had a strikeout. So that's the minors for you. You get a win and a save, and you don't get a strikeout. Also, some minor league news to talk about. Ronaldo Lopez out in the White Sox organization. He's going to make his White Sox debut on Friday. So congrats to Ronaldo Lopez. Sure, of course, we'll keep an eye on what he's doing there from the big offseason trade, but good to see him get a chance at the majors again. And we'll see if the second time around is better for him. Let's take a look at tomorrow's pitching matchup. Is a 7:05 first pitch. I'll be with you again for that one. You can watch the game. I believe it's on Masson, regular Masson, because MLB.com does not want to load the pitching matchups. I know it's Gio Gonzalez pitching for the Nationals. I just want to confirm who's pitching for the Marlins. I believe is Adam Conley. I'm just going to make sure that is the correct pitching line. And it is. So Gio 9-5 with a 2.66 ERA. Against Conley, 4-4 with a 5.10. That game's on Masson too. So good thing I looked that up, because you went to Masson, you wouldn't find it. Gonzalez coming off his last start, which was fantastic. 1 hit, 8 innings, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. Was just on paternity leave, so congratulations to Gio's family. Seth was just kidding. That's good. Don't want to make crazy bets like that. Judo's right. I'm glad I don't have to face Vance Worley in the playoffs, definitely. And congrats on your job offer. I did see that on Twitter. So good to see. And you're right, Seth. Sean Kelly, I think that's a good sign. I don't know where Sean Kelly fits into the bullpen, but you need to see him put positive results together. And that's a good sign when you see Kelly pitch like that. Even though he didn't strike anybody out. Still worried about the home runs with him. But Gio, of course, again, emotion outing in Miami last time. He's been really good against the Marlins in his career. He's faced Miami so far this season. He's faced them 3 times, a 1.29 ERA, 20 strikeouts in 21 innings, and a batters against average of 189. So you feel confident with Gio all the time against Miami. He's been that good this year. Looking to get his 10th win of the season. And congratulations to their family. As I was mentioning, he was on paternity leave, had his 2nd child. So congratulations to the Gonzalez family. Hopefully everything's doing okay with them. So we'll see if Gio could have a good start against Adam Conley for the Marlins. And Conley's a guy that had a good start to his career. He's had a little bit of a rough patch. He's had a rough season. Again, the high ERA would suggest that. But you look at his numbers this season. So I'm going to pull those up because I just had them open. Last start against the Braves, 5 1/3, 3 earned runs, 1 on 5 hits. Gave up a homer and struck out 2. So Conley's not a high strikeout guy. 40 strikeouts or 54 2/3 innings. Has been okay as a starter. Last 4 times out, just 7 earned runs. So he's not going to give up too many crooked innings. Has not faced the Nats yet this year. But some of the numbers to watch. If Daniel Murphy's in the lineup, he's 4 for 6 with 4 RBIs. Anthony Rendon, 4 for 9 with 3 doubles. So those might be your hitters to watch tomorrow. Murphy, if he's in the lineup, and Anthony Rendon with the 3 doubles. It'd be a good night for him. That's a good question. If you both host the show, I'll bring that up with the other co-editor who's not here. Definitely, we're glad that you guys are here to contribute. Good question by Judo, and that question is: would you switch the 5 hitter and the 7, switching 5 and 7, and 5 tonight being Adam Lynn, 7 being Wilmer Defoe? I like the way Dusty put the lineup together. I don't think that's your issue right now. I liked putting Lynn there. He's definitely been good production in the middle of the order. Defoe, I think you could put anywhere. You put him 8th, you can put him 7th, you can put him 2nd. He's done a nice job in either role. I'd even hit him leadoff. I wrote about that a week ago. I think you need the speed in the lineup. And Defoe stole another base today. You need him to do as much roles as you can. I mean, right now, the only issue I have with the lineup, as I was talking about earlier, Judo, I think is the cleanup spot. I think it's becoming a concern when Ryan Zimmerman continually goes through these rough patches. The batting average right now is at about 200 since middle of July. It's not just a 1-2 week thing anymore. And you wonder if he needs the time off, but the problem is the Nats don't have enough healthy bodies to do that. They need Taylor back. They need Worth back. They need Turner back. And that's when they can start giving some of these guys days off. Otherwise, you're playing nights with Stevenson in the outfield and Kendrick. Well, you'll likely play Kendrick, but where you play Defoe and Sanchez, like you did tonight, Sanchez did a nice job. But you're not looking to do that every day. But, 4 and 6, you meant. Okay, which would be Zimmerman and Rendon. I was arguing for that earlier. I think you would do that. I think it might be time. I'm not saying do it right now, but if it keeps going, you have to consider it. You have to. And I think even for Zim, just move down the order, maybe get some confidence back. But when you have a night like tonight where you're hitting 3 double plays, and again, 2 of them I don't think are all his fault, but the luck's not going for him right now. And every time it seems the big situation finds him, and I thought he had turned that around with that double in the 8th inning on Sunday. But the more I get concerned with that. And yeah, Worth and Turner will be back, of course. Seth, you mentioned. And things will get better. I'm not saying this offense is terrible. They're not going to face Vance Worley in the playoffs. And Worley actually has good career numbers against the Nationals. Everything is going to go back in its proper place. But Zimmerman's the guy I'm watching right now. Because I'm just curious to see if the slump continues. If Dusty's not quick to make lineup changes, people. It's just not. You might argue with it, and I know a lot of media people do argue with it. He's just not quick to do it. I go back to last year when Danny Espinosa was struggling in the playoffs. Dusty was like, I'm not changing my lineup. And Espinosa had that big hit in the 5th in Game 5. He's just not. He's going to put confidence in his players. But at some point, they have to consider it. Doesn't have to make the move. Just want him to consider it. And you just hope his leg's okay. Because I talked about earlier, that's never a good thing. So we'll keep an eye on Murphy with his injury. Zimmerman with what's going on with him. But again, all things considered, good nights for Goodwin, good nights for Sanchez. And again, in the minors, Seth Romero, another good outing. And I think that's another, for the long-term future organization, you're glad you saw that as well. A couple of things we talked about on the site today. I had an article up about Howie Kendrick's versatility and how that might pay off down the stretch because Jorge Castillo from the Washington Post tweeted that Howie Kendrick over the weekend was taking grounders at third base. He has played third base, but only like 18 games in his career. But when everybody comes back, like Seth was mentioning, you could put Kendrick at third and give Anthony Rendon a day off. You could put him in left. You can put him at second to give Murphy a day off. I think his versatility in September is going to be huge to get the regulars off their feet a little bit. And maybe even Jason Worth, get him, you can match his playing time and don't have to play Worth every day when he comes back. Keep him fresh for October. So Kendrick's versatility is going to be huge. And Ron talked about Max Scherzer's outing last night, which I wasn't here for that. Drew was here with you for that. My only problem with last night was why the heck is Max Scherzer throwing 114 pitches with a bad neck? I really don't get that. You hear after the game that he still feels weak when the neck, throwing the curveballs. And I'm like, what are you doing? You can't risk Max Scherzer's health. That's so important. I'd rather him just pitch 6 innings. Right now, if he's hurt, then you're really in trouble. So they got to do everything they can to keep Scherzer healthy. And yeah, Norfolk did win, so it's a good job by the Tides. But I just don't like sometimes how Baker handles Scherzer. And sometimes you got to protect Scherzer from himself. And it's great when he has the attitude that he's going to get the people out, and he's got those good facial expressions. And I love that about him. He's so competitive. But sometimes you got to protect the player from themselves. But other than that, I thought Adam Lind was clutch last night. Again, I got an article up going up tomorrow morning about Adam Lind. He's been one of the best pinch hitters in team history. I'll have more numbers on that. And his numbers coming into today, hitting 380 in the 7th inning or later. So fantastic numbers. So I'll have more on Adam Lind tomorrow. Ron will have something up in the afternoon. Again, happy anniversary to Ron and his wife, Sarah. Hope they're enjoying their anniversary tonight. I will be with you guys tomorrow and probably Thursday. So you get me for the rest of the Marlins series. Hopefully there's more wins in store. I want to beef up my winning percentage a little bit because Ron's got more wins than me, but he's got more games than me. So I got to get that winning percentage on par because Ron's got games at hand. in our District on Deck winners competition. So hopefully you get some wins tomorrow. But this year is good because when you get Gio on the mound, you feel confident. And that's something you couldn't say the last couple of years. So Gio against Conley tomorrow, Tanner Roark and Dan Straley on Thursday. I'm probably with you for both games, so we'll have a lot of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in the chat. Again, give this video a like and subscribe. We got all our post games here, interviews here, everything you could ask for. We have it here on the DoDcast YouTube page. You can also tweet me on Twitter at Rickinator555 or tweet the site at District on Deck. Give us a like on Facebook. All of our articles on the DoDcast go there too. So if you miss it here, go to our Facebook page. Promise our Facebook's a lot of fun because I run it. And again, just thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully the Nats bounce back tomorrow. And for all of us here at District on Deck, I'm Ricky Keeler saying hope you have a great rest of your night. And I'll see you back here tomorrow after Nats Marlins.